Hey, welcome to the debut of the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkel. Greatly appreciate you joining this evening. And also, too, I'd like to welcome you to this live stream. And the topic that I want to cover this evening is the era of artificial intelligence. Later in the broadcast, I'll make sure that I do give everyone an update as to what content you can expect to find on the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkel on my channel, and also to the type of content and information that I will be putting out. It will be on the topics of digital transformation, digital business, and other type of related topics. But this topic, what I wanted to cover tonight, is something that's really coming to the forefront with a lot of different news and updates and warnings and all kind of things. And the statement that is always said, a saying that's always said, that I really kind of like in that saying is, "May you live in interesting times." Now, for a lot of people, that is a negative statement or a saying. For me, I find it very fascinating because we do want to live in interesting times, and right now we do live in a very interesting time. A little bit of turbulence is going to be ahead of us when it comes to artificial intelligence, AI, the role that it'll play in not only business, education, society, even in our daily lives. But there's a lot of disruption that's going to be coming our way. And when we think about artificial intelligence, it is a major technological disruptor, and it is rapidly evolving minute by minute. We're not talking about year after year. We're talking about minute by minute. It is really rapidly advancing. And we could just be a matter of months away from singularity. And what singularity will be with AI is that point where we really don't have a way to have a return back to the way it was before AI. And there's a lot today. In fact, Steve Wozniak, who is a co-founder of Apple, announced that he was leaving his role with Google. Google's in pursuit of integrating, implementing, and expanding artificial intelligence on their platforms. And his warning is we need to take a pause. And if you remember, just about a month ago, I'm going to play this news clip, and this was what came out of Elon Musk and also Steve Wozniak as well. So check out this clip.
From Elon Musk and other tech industry experts about the power of artificial intelligence. Musk and hundreds of influential names, including Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, are calling for a pause in experiments, saying AI poses a dramatic risk to society unless there's proper oversight.
I think we need to regulate AI safety, frankly, because it is, I think, actually a bigger risk to society than cars or planes or medicine.
In their new letter, tech industry leaders pose these existential questions. Should we develop non-human minds that might eventually outnumber, outsmart, obsolete, and replace us? Should we risk loss of control of our civilization? Musk and others are asking developers to stop the training of AI systems more powerful than GPT-4 for at least 6 months so that safety protocols can be established. GPT-4 is the latest AI model from the company behind ChatGPT, which can take vast amounts of data available online and turn out research papers, solve complex problems, and even pass the bar exam. The CEO recently spoke to ABC's Rebecca Jarvis.
Part of the exciting thing here is we get continually surprised by the creative power of all of society.
I think that word surprise, though, it's both exhilarating as well as terrifying to people.
Sure. I think people should be happy that we're a little bit scared of this.
Critics argue without oversight, AI could spread propaganda and lies and eventually lead to anarchy. But the more immediate concern, jobs. Goldman Sachs predicts the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs worldwide could be replaced by artificial intelligence.
And I'm going to cover that last talking point on that ABC news clip when it comes related to job loss, and also to artificial intelligence does have the opportunity to create new digital economies and do amazing things. So it's how we handle this time period of transition is going to be very important. what I also wanted to cover was the release today where Steve Wozniak and Musk, they came on and they talked about out of control AI development and to do a pause. And there's a lot of different articles out there, and I encourage everyone to take a look at and read and get a little familiar, because a lot of this stuff is going on so fast, it gets lost, and it's really important to understand. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the era of artificial intelligence. And the amazing thing for myself, I remember when, the Mac first came out, and I remember in the 70s and the 80s. But when you look at digital computers, they were developed in the 40s and really didn't hit the stage until we started getting into the late 70s and 80s. But when you're looking at the first microprocessors in the 1970s, and then you had the early days of the internet in the early 90s, and to see where we are now, it was just a few months ago we were talking about Chat GPT, we were talking about deep fake videos, we were talking about so many things related to artificial intelligence, and just a few months later now, the concern related to the advancement and development. But let's take a look of, how did we get here? In you think about the first mobile phones were in the 1990s, and I remember these. They were the bricks, and they were the bag phones, and they had tiny little displays. And to just think of where things have come today with the size of an iPhone or an Android phone, digital assistants. I remember back in the 90s. Now we have tablets and all types of different devices, watches that are smart watches as well. And in 2 decades before the 90s, main storage for computers was on punch cards. And I remember the old very large floppies and things like that. But just to think about that, you had, in the 70s, you had punch cards. And the first digital computers were only invented about eight decades ago, as I mentioned earlier. And in the early days of computing history, some computer scientists have really been striving to make machines intelligent as humans. So really from the beginning, that was the ultimate goal. In fact, in the 1950s, the first intelligent system was a remote controlled mouse, a toy mouse that would be able to figure out how to go through a maze. So even back in the 1950s, we had technologies that were so advanced even at that time that were, astounding then. But today, it's a toy. It's a toy for kids. And where are we now? AI is here. It's here. So when you think about it, when you book a flight, it's artificial intelligence in most cases, and not a human that's deciding the routes for you. Also, too, it'll calculate what you're paying, what the cost of it might be. And then when you get to an airport, when we look at security systems, and we see this also, too, in some global cities where you have AI systems that are used for tracking people. They can do face recognition. They can track movements. They can look for suspicious things based on algorithms. And they learn and they teach themselves really to look for certain types of patterns and things like that, and do advanced warning to humans of any potential threats or just concerns to check out. Also, too, when you're on the plane, as I mentioned here, an AI system assists the pilot in flying you to wherever you're going to. And these days with airplanes, it's like you pretty much need a pilot and crew for takeoff and landing, and then to help support the passengers on the airplane. But AI systems are also increasingly, they're determining whether to used in loan determinations or any type of eligibility. They're used in a lot of different ways to search for new candidates for jobs. And then also, too, they're used in so many other type of decision-based systems. And then governments are, purchasing autonomous weapon systems for warfare. They're using AI systems for surveillance and also suppression, so they can be used to actually control population. But when you're looking at the use of drones and AI and weapon systems and AI, and ultimately where things can lead is that when we start getting into advanced robotics with artificial intelligence, that's where things start to change. And so there are 3 types of artificial intelligence. Real quickly, the first one is machine learning, and then you have machine intelligence, and then you have machine consciousness. And what I'm going to do is cover each of these. So when we're talking about machine learning, there's three types of machine learning. The first is supervised. It's really where information is being fed, and then also too inputs and outputs are based on what, as it's called, supervised learning. It's what is being given to the system to learn, and also to what are some of the desired outcomes that we want to have from this. So what it does is there's an algorithm that's going to be developed, and it can be shifted to create outputs that are closely aligned with a desired result as close as possible. When we're looking at unsupervised learning, this type of machine learning is widely used to create predictive models. So when you look at predictive models, it is using unsupervised learning. And this is going to be based on information it is included and inputted into it. But what it does with a lot of the data, it has all these different data points, and it will look to cluster those together, and it will group things, and then it will look for commonality and association. And then what it can do is it can adjust itself based on what it is discovering in these clusters and groups of information and data points to be able to come out with a predictive model. And then the last one is reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is the closest machine learning type to how humans learn. The algorithm or agent learns by interacting with its environment and getting a positive or negative reward. Common algorithms include temporal differences, deep adversarial networks, and quantitative learning. So when we look at the three types of machine learning, they really do have value depending on what you're looking as a business or an organization, or in whatever is really the desired outcome. With machine intelligence is very different because it's what's created when the machines are programmed with some aspects of human intelligence, including learning, problem solving, and prioritization. These are limiting capabilities, as it says, and a machine can tackle a complex set of problems. So it starts to employ logic. It starts to think for itself. And this is kind of where we're at right now with a lot of the AI systems, where the intelligence is really so advanced right now that machine learning is there, and very very concerning, because as it advances on, what type of parameters, what type of safety protocols might be in place. What are some of the rules? How can we kind of deal with machine learning intelligence that is advancing itself so fast and so rapidly? So a lot of these are going to be questions that they're going to be asked. Artificial consciousness is where everything is leading to. And that's really where the artificial intelligence, it has synthetic consciousness. It recognizes itself. It starts to be self-aware, as we are self-aware of ourselves. And when you mix this with cognitive robotics, when you have advanced robotics, and now you have an AI system, and we think of an AI system. When I always think of an AI system, we have Skynet. Skynet was in the digital world. It was what controlled everything. And then obviously in the movie with the Terminator, Skynet controlled robotics, and it made machines do things. When you're thinking of a artificial conscious, and you're thinking of that combining with cognitive robotics, if you want to stick with the science fiction side, think of Data from Star Trek, where now you have a autonomous robotics, or a robot with the ability to have a conscious thought, to be able to kind of think, reason. It might even have also self-preservation in mind. And so, again, keeping with those science fiction things, what comes to mind is Isaac Asimov. He created the 3 laws of robotics. And, those are things that we're going to have to think about when we have consciousness in AI, and then we have advanced robotics and start to have that crossover, that combination, is exactly, how do we deal with that again, another type of singularity event or the singularity event when it comes to that combination. But ethics come into play too. So when you have a machine that is conscious, you know, we have human rights. Does that conscious machine now have some sets of rights? And so I think that's also an important thing to come in play as well, is if we are going to create artificial intelligence, have advanced robotics, and that combination, exactly what ethics will come to play for this new type of consciousness, this new type of a form of it's even hard to wrap words around it because we don't create life. It's artificial, but this artificial intelligence that mimics kind of a life. It has a conscience, it has feelings, it has thought, it has emotions, and everything else like that. So those are some of the things I wanted to kind of cover tonight. Now, what I want to do is talk a little bit about the Digital Revolution channel. So I've created a new channel on YouTube, and also too, I will be broadcasting from time to time some short live streams talking about certain topics, and maybe have the option and the opportunity to have some live chats go as well, audio live chats on different topics. But I have a big interest in, this is not my full-time career or anything like that, but I have a big interest when it comes to digital technologies, digital transformation, and coming out of during the pandemic, everyone was on doing Teams call, we were doing Zoom calls, Skyping, all these things. And everyone really started to get into different types of form of digital communication. We started to see some transition happening in different industries when it came to transformation into digital systems and content and things, all that. And that really kind of sparked in me interest when it comes to digital transformation. So what I decided to do was create a new channel and focus on digital topics related to business and also for society as well. And I'm starting to do some audio content. In fact, I have a release out there right now called 3 Critical Steps Businesses Can Take to Improve Data Management and Operating Margins. And each week I'm going to try to release this short audio. It could be anywhere from about 15 minutes to 30 minutes time. And then also I will be doing some videos and, like I mentioned, also 2 live streams as well. But I want to, get a lot of what interests me out there, and hopefully there will be others on following me through YouTube and also through my other social networks who'll be interested also to learn a little bit more about digital transformation, digital technologies, and all that type of good stuff. So I greatly appreciate everybody joining this evening, and also to everyone who posted. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your support. And also too, if you get an opportunity, check out on my post on my different platforms and take a look for the link to get to the Digital Revolution channel, and hopefully you'll become a subscriber. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your evening, your morning, your day. Thank you.